Hi, my name's TJ and welcome to Cinemateq. And today I'm giving you my predictions for the 2020 Oscars so you can win your Oscar pool. And if you do win your Oscar pool, you must send me the money that you win from it. I will leave my address at the end of this video. Just kidding, I'm definitely not going to dox myself. Now, the way that this is going to work is that I'm going to lay these categories out into three kind of macro categories. Number one will be the 100% surefire wins. Number two will be the maybes, the ones that I'm pretty sure I've got nailed down, and maybe they could go somewhere else, but I don't think they will. And then category three, movies that will definitely fuck up your Oscar pool. But don't worry, I've got all the answers for you, so you'll be rolling in the money in no time. And then so will I, because you'll owe me money. All right, I'm not gonna have this tee up the whole time. First of the surefire 100% categories is actor in a leading role. And that, of course, will go to Joaquin Phoenix for Joker. No one thinks it's going to go any other way. That is just the biggest lock of the night, probably. After that, we have actor in a supporting role, and that will be Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He once again has all the momentum and he's won all of the awards. He is definitely a lock. Next, we have actress in a supporting role, and that will go to Laura Dern. Everyone is super into this role. And when I say everyone, I mean I really am. She's won a lot of awards for this already, and once again, it's another lock. Then we have Best Actress in a Leading Role, and that will be Renee Zellweger. I still have not seen Judy, so I cannot attest to how good the performance is, but she has the momentum. She's won the awards, the Golden Globe, the SAG Award, etc. It's hers and it's no one else's. Next, we have Best Cinematography, and that will be Roger Deakins for 1917. The man shot a World War I film in a one take, and there is that one specific sequence near the end of the film where it's really dark and there are flares, and my God, that looks so good. 100% Roger Deakins walks away with this, no doubt in my mind. The best hair and makeup category, that's another 100% surefire pick, and that one is going to Bombshell. Best makeup and hairstyling is another surefire 100% pick, and that will be going to Bombshell. We were all there on the internet when that trailer first came out, and we saw someone who looked like Megyn Kelly, and we all collectively went, hey, who is that? And then we were like, oh, it's Charlize Theron? No. It couldn't be. And then it was. No other film comes close to that for best hair and makeup, so let's consider that one a lock as well. Now we have best original score, and that is a 100% lock for Joker. It has won a couple of preceding awards, including the Golden Globes, and I just remember when the film came out, if people weren't talking about Joaquin Phoenix's performance, they were talking about the music in the film. I feel like this is a definite lock for Joker, and I can't really see anyone else coming in and taking this one away. Now we move on to Best Documentary Feature, and I've mentioned this on the channel before. I thought this one was going to be a toss-up between American Factory and Apollo 11, but Apollo 11 did not get nominated, so it's American Factory. I have not seen many of the other films. I have seen For Sama, and I think that For Sama is pretty good. I've seen a few minutes of American Factory. To be honest, I turned it off after 20 minutes because I was bored, but that's not the right way to watch a documentary, and I'm gonna go back and watch it properly at some point, especially if it wins, not if it wins, when it wins, because it's a 100% lock. The next surefire 100% is Sam Mendes for Best Director. You don't put together a film like 1917 and not get Best Director for it. He's also won Best Director at the BAFTAs and at the Globes and at the DGA Awards. The man is a surefire lock. I know a lot of people want Bong Joon-ho to win this for Parasite, but at this point, the wave of Parasite love, I think, came too late, and every other award has told me that Sam Mendes is going to win this, and it is a lock. Speaking of Bong Joon-ho, we have Parasite, absolutely walking away with Best International Feature. There is no other film on this list that even comes close. Parasite has been lauded everywhere it has opened. It won the Grand Prix at Cannes. It is an unstoppable force in this particular category. No one else can touch it. It is 100% going to win Best International Feature. And that, my friends, is a guarantee you can take to the bank. Although they probably won't accept it because they're a bank. That's the end of the films that are definitely going to win in those specific categories. But TJ, I hear you saying, the only double winner in that entire group of 11 was Joker. I thought Joker wasn't a very good movie in your opinion. You're You're right. But then also, where's 1917? I thought it was gonna win Best Picture for sure. Well, maybe not. But before we get into that, let's go through some of the other maybe something else could win categories. And we're going to start that off first with Best Visual Effects. And I'm pretty sure that 1917 is going to win it. I believe if you were to go to Gold Derby right now, it is the odds-on favorite to win. However, I don't want to underestimate the push that Netflix could have put behind The Irishman for this category. They spent a ton of money on the de-aging tech, and I think they might want to be able to justify spending all that money on it by essentially getting the Oscar for it. I also just don't want to discount Avengers Endgame. There were a lot of special effects in that. A lot of those scenes are just completely composite scenes, taking actors who were shot against different green screens, putting them all together and making it look pretty cohesive and pretty good overall. I still don't think that it wins out in the face of something like 1917 because I think the Academy tends to favor practical effects over digital effects, and I think 1917 had a lot more practical stuff going on for it. And I think it's also much harder to integrate those effects into a movie when you're trying to just have one continuous shot the whole time. And I think that's eventually what is going to put 1917 over the top. But for this specific category, pretty sure it's 1917. I just also don't want to leave you guys hanging because I feel like The Irishman or Avengers Endgame could steal it, but I'm putting my money on 1917. Next, we have Best Costume Design. And for me, the winner of that is going to be Little Women. This is the one category at this point where I really feel like Little Women will win, and I need that movie to win an Oscar. So I am just putting all of my ponies into this one ride. What? That doesn't even make sense. And I'm just not saying that out of complete devotion to this film. I think that regardless of my love for it, it still has the best shot of winning this. However, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood could walk in and take it. It does have that nostalgia factor. There are people in the Academy who are going to be able to look at it and say, hey, do you remember when we wore those clothes? Haha, it's so weird that we're 70 years old and we're still voting on movies. Ah, that's fun. We also can't ignore the fact that Little Women is a period drama, and period dramas, especially from that time period, tend to get favored by the Academy. So I am picking Little Women for this category, but it could go to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You decide. Well, not you, because you're not an Academy voter. The next category in the maybe section is Best Original Song, and for this I am picking Rocket Man to win. The reason that this category is in maybe is that we have very little other information to draw on. It did win the Golden Globe for Best Original Song, but it's entirely possible that the Hollywood Foreign Press Association was just bought and that another song could come in and take it. I don't really have an idea of who else it could be because a lot of the other songs in this category are from films I haven't seen, like Breakthrough, I think, and Frozen 2, and I just don't know. So in this one, I'm going with Rocket Man. It seems like the logical choice. I think a lot of people who are in the Academy are friends with Elton John or would love to give Elton John an Oscar, and I think that will also work in the film's favor. So yeah, Rocket Man. Definitely, maybe, probably. Like 80%. Moving the maybe train along, we get to Best Film Editing. And for this one, I am picking Ford versus Ferrari. This is not the one that I want to win. I think it's the one that will win. And there are a couple of others that could take it. If you were to go to Gold Derby and look at the odds, Parasite is not that far behind. But I think that the voting members of the Academy are going to look at Ford versus Ferrari. They're going to see that kind of classic Hollywood action type of editing. Lots of cars, lots of fast things happening. It's a very upbeat film. And I think that will seal it for Ford versus Ferrari. But I also don't want to discount Parasite. And we also can't forget that Thelma Schoonmaker is in this category. She has been around for a while. She is Martin Scorsese's editor. She has so much respect and so much goodwill in Hollywood that I could see this going to her as well, although the odds are really, really low. I think it's Ford versus Ferrari overall. Now to close out the maybe section, we have 4 categories that I'm gonna do pretty much together because I think that 1917 is going to win all 4 of them, but there are small caveats. I'm gonna start this off by talking about production design. When you watch 1917, one of the things that immediately strikes you, aside from the cinematography, is the world that the two soldiers walk through. It is so incredibly detailed, and so much was done from a production standpoint to get it to look like that I feel like it should be the odds-on favorite. However, we can't ignore Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in this category. The production design in that film was very good, and we can't disregard the fact that it's a lot of old Hollywood people who are predominantly voting on these categories when it comes to the Academy Awards. And so they're going to be able to look at the production design in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and say, yeah, that's how it actually was 50 years ago when I was a 30-year-old in Hollywood. My God, the Academy is so old. Why do we let old people stay in the Academy? I don't get it. Not the time for this though, not the time. Then we have the two sound categories, sound editing and sound mixing. And honestly, I usually just shrug my shoulders at these ones because I don't really know how to predict them, and even in cases what they mean. I do know what they mean, but I also don't know how to tell when it's good in comparison to other films. With cinematography, to me at least, it's super easy. You just look at the image and it's like, yes, those images are better than these images. And it's just kind of obvious in my mind. And then also we have the fact that, there are odds at saying that Roger Deakins are gonna win anyways. When it comes to sound, we have less information to work off of. 1917 did win Best Sound at the BAFTAs, and it did win Best Sound for the Audio Guild or Audio Association. I forget their name right now. I'm so sorry, but you are important. So I feel like 1917 is the safe bet in these categories, but also Ford versus Ferrari and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood can't be ignored either. I don't know which one I would favor for each category. I think in the case of sound editing, maybe Ford versus Ferrari ekes ahead, and then in the case of sound mixing, it's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood if you're looking for a second option. But in both cases, I still feel like you're better served with 1917, which is why I'm telling you about it, and which is why I am personally picking it. Now we get to the last category of this quintuplet of things that I think 1917 is going to win, and that is Best Picture. And up until like an hour before I even recorded this video, it was in my 100% lock. But then I just kept thinking about how Parasite has been gaining momentum over the last couple of months. It's been doing really, really well. It hasn't been winning as much as it needed to be in order to convince me that an upset was possible. For example, if Parasite had won Best Picture at the BAFTAs, then maybe. But Best Picture was won by 1917, and Best British Film as well was won by 1917. And you have the Golden Globes, and the Directors Guild Awards, and the Producers Guild Awards. I still think that 1917 has the best chance here, but I wanted to let you know that maybe Parasite wins this. And honestly, I hope it does. But if we're talking from a strictly what we think is gonna win, it's 1917. I have no doubts about that, except for the small doubt that I just told you about. And now, dear friends, we get to the last 6 categories. The 6 that could very well up your Oscar pool. So listen closely, because I'm about to save your life, which is why you're gonna send me money, right? Yeah, you will. The first 3 that I'm gonna go through are all of the short films. Those ones are notoriously hard to predict. I know in years past that they have been the ones that have totally messed up my Oscar pool and dropped me from like a nice 22 out of 24 to like 19 or 17, basically taking me out of contention. So I'm gonna be going on what I think is best, but also relying somewhat on the odds, especially in the case of Best Documentary Short, because I was not able to see any of them. Thank you so much, Tiff Bell Lightbox, for barely showing the documentaries at all. That was real swell of you. For this particular category, I'm picking Learning How to Skate in a War Zone. It is the odds-on favorite, according to Gold Derby, and it just tells a story that I think a lot of Academy, especially American Academy voters, are going to like. It's about skateboarding in a place where there normally wouldn't be skateboarding. There's a lot of Americana going on there, and for all I know, it's actually the best one. So yeah, that one. I think you should pick that one. Next we have Best Live Action Short Film, and I am going to pick Brotherhood for this, but with a caveat. I saw Brotherhood last night. It is exceptionally good. It is by far the best film in this category, but the narrative is about a Tunisian family who has to deal with their son who ran away to become an ISIS fighter, coming back with his war bride, and them trying to figure out how this family dynamic now works. And I wonder how much that will turn off Academy voters, especially if we're talking about American Academy voters who don't like ISIS at all. And like, I understand. Fuck ISIS. They suck. They're the worst. But it's also a very good film that takes a very poignant look at family dynamics and how they can be strained and stressed and what happens as a consequence of that strain and stress. We also can't ignore the fact that every other film in the category is nowhere close to its quality. Brotherhood is just head and shoulders better than every other film in the category. But I also can't ignore the fact that the subject matter might turn off voters. So I'm picking Brotherhood. I don't know what else you should pick in place of it, but just know that it could destroy your Oscar pool. It could. It might. The next category that could totally destroy your Oscar pool is Best Animated Short Film. And for this, it's kind of the opposite of the Best Live Action Short Film category, where the film that is the weakest in the category, in my opinion, is the odds-on favorite to win, and that film is Hair Love. I think that Hair Love will win. I am picking it, but I also think there are just better films in the category. Memorable is by far, in my mind, better, even the best in the category. I think I know why Hair Love is being pushed and why it is the odds-on favorite. It's an American story. It's a very touching family story. And the subject matter in Memorable is a lot heavier. It's a devastating film, actually, to watch. But I still just can't pick it over Hair Love because that's the way the odds are going. And when it comes to the short films, you're just better off going with the odds. And that is my advice to you if you don't want to have your Oscar pool totally fucked up. Pick Hair Love. That's what you should be doing. Now we're getting to Best Original Screenplay, and that, for me, is Bong Joon-ho as the winner. And this is so difficult for me to take because I know that it's the odds-on favorite, but I'm also just so worried that the Academy will not give Best Screenplay to a foreign film, especially when that film is going up against Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think a lot of Oscar voters, if they haven't seen either film or have only seen one of them, are just going to look at the ballot, see Tarantino's name, look at the other names, not really know who they are or care who they are, and pick Tarantino. This is a tight race, but I think it's one that Bong Joon-ho will win. That's why I'm picking it. But this could really screw up my Oscar pool and your Oscar pool. But I want you to know that we're all in this together. Next, we have the Best Adapted Screenplay category, and this one breaks my heart because I am picking Taika Waititi to win the award. I have been saying for a long time that I want Greta Gerwig to win this award. I want her to win this award so badly, and I thought for a time that she was the favorite. However, Taika Waititi did win the WGA, and he also won at the BAFTAs. He's got the momentum going for him, and I think that those wins are indicative of an Oscar win. But I also don't want to discount Greta Gerwig here. If you go check out the odds on Gold Derby, and I've mentioned the name of that website a lot, but we are not sponsored by them, it's just a great resource. The difference in odds between Jojo Rabbit and Little Women for this award are virtually non-existent. Like, it's very, very close. I think it's actually the tightest race in the awards by odds. And I just gotta go with the awards and where the momentum is taking me in this case, which is why I'm so saddened to say Taika Waititi. And now we're at the last category. This is 24 of 24, Best Animated Feature. And I know a lot of people are going to be picking Toy Story 4 for this, but I say no. Klaus is going to win this award. It won 7 Annies. It's been doing really well in the other awards where it could have won. And I just feel like it's got something going on for it. It's got excitement around it. People are rallying behind this film. They want it to win. And I think it can overtake Toy Story 4. Saying that, the odds say Toy Story 4 will win. But I think this is one of the only cases throughout this entire award show where you can confidently pick an underdog and expect them to win. I think it's Klaus. I think it's this category. And I think that this could be the one that either really fucks up your Oscar pool or puts you over the top because a lot of other people are going to be taking Toy Story 4. If you're not sure about whether or not you can get to the top of the list, this might be the one that puts you over. So I strongly urge you to consider it. I, for one, will be picking Klaus, and I will be so happy if it wins. And if Toy Story 4 wins, then whatever. It's just another Pixar award. Big deal. But I'll still be sad. And to be clear, I'm going for a perfect 24 out of 24. I'm not picking favorites out of sentimentality. Sometimes my sentimentality overlaps with what I think is going to win, but this is the, in my mind, perfect ballot. This will get 24 out of 24, and if it doesn't, then I'm gonna be drunk on champagne anyways, and it won't matter. But still, I think this is a very, very solid list. Now, we're done, we're basically out, but I must remind you that I'm going to be doing live reactions to both the Independent Spirit Awards and the Oscar Awards, and for the Oscar Awards, we're going to have an interactive Oscar ballot type thing. I've left a link to a Google form in the description below. Just fill out what you think is going to win the Oscars, and then all of those responses are gonna get tabulated together. I'm gonna be running some kind of like automated spreadsheet type thing, and during the awards, we'll have a live updating list of everyone who is from the Cinematech community and who wants to participate. I'm going to be cutting off people voting on stuff right when the ceremony starts, so make sure you get your picks in before 8 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. That said, I'm going to be live streaming on Saturday for the Independent Spirit Awards. That will be at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And the Academy Awards, I will be starting the live stream for that at 7 o'clock so I can shit talk people on the red carpet, because obviously I'm a very fashionable person and that's something that I'm allowed to do. So that's all from me, friends. Thank you so much for watching. I hope these picks help you. I hope that you win your Oscar pool. If you do, you don't have to send me the money, just let me know. And it'd be great if you could just give me a like on this video as well. Maybe do that before the Oscars actually happen, so that more people can see this and so more people can get educated on the best possible Oscar picks around. Thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. No, I will see you in the next live stream, which will be tomorrow. My God, how time flies. Have a good weekend, everyone.